Hello friends, today is my 17th presentation for the team of Corporate Finance and Accounts, and the subject is designing and configuring the audit trails for all the functions. Overall, this is my 48th presentation, considering all the YouTube presentation which I have made so far. What I plan to include in this presentation are: number one, what is the purpose of audit trail? Number two, identifying 14 business activities that need to be performed to configure and perform audit trail. Number three is the basic concepts used in the audit trail process, particularly in the ERP environments. Fourth is configuring audit trail in the SAP environments for finance and accounts function with one illustration. And fifth is the audit trail software selection, capability parameters, and activities which, including unethical, which can adversely impact the business. Purpose of audit trail. In any organization, there are 5 types of internal audit which can be carried out as following. Number 1 is commercial audit. Number 2, financial audits, which is conventional. Number 3 is technical audits. Fourth is the IT and ERP audit. And lastly, fifth one is the legal audits. A blog has been published on my YouTube covering all the types of internal audits as per the link which is indicated below. Now, the audit trail enables knowing about the history of the transactions, to track the history of transaction and how these have been performed and handled by the company. Number 2, the transactions may include the following: business workflows, configuration tables, master data tables, database tables, authorization profiles, and the documents. It also enables audit trail also enables identification of the fraud detection, to track suspicious activity and to identify the potential fraud attempts. Data security. Audit trail enables facilitation of the data confidentiality, integrity, and availability through access controls at the granularity level. Error correction. This enables to pinpoint errors and facilitate investigation and remediations. Process improvements. To analyze user actions and optimize the business processes. Accountability. To ensure that the users take responsibility for their actions. Analysis. To provide numerous points for analysis through the audit trail reports. Compliances. To meet the statutory regulatory requirements and internal control frameworks. Identifying 14 activities, business activities that are needed to configure and perform the audit trails. One is consolidating and providing the inputs to IT ERP teams vis-a-vis users levels, positions, locations, IT equipments, softwares, and types and structure of the audit reports required. Number 2 activity is listing of the authorization profiles names along with the codes for relevant data vis-a-vis authorization profile for the core processing activities, authorization profile for the statutory processes and activities, authorization profile for the configuration tables and fields, authorization profile for the master data tables and fields, authorization profile for the supporting process and activities. In consideration, point number 3, activities number 3 is in consideration with the safety, the internal audit team, finance and accounts team, proposing features of audit trail software such as username, who initiated, who accessed the system, along with the level, position, and function, the date and time when the system was accessed, and duration, etc. Number 4 is the configuration audit trail basic framework, which basically covers logging levels, setting retention period. Third is the user authorization requirements and control access to sensitive log data and reports. Fifth one is configuring and operating configuring the operating system of the ERP solution implemented like SAP. This is one of the most highly technical subject. Alternately, negotiating and procuring the audit software in case ERP is not there in the organization. Seventh is IT team installing audit software procured to develop in the development server. Number point 8 is testing the audit trail software or operating software with pilot data of the each respective function in test server vis-a-vis aspects captured in point number 2 earlier, which is listing of the authorization profiles, names, etc. And of course, the audit trail software detailing of the user names and who accesses the system and level, position, etc. Point number 9 is obtaining training from the IT team ERP specialist for performing the audit trails. Point number 10 is transferring the audit trail software to the live production server for generating audit trails as and when necessary after testing and training. Point activity number 11 is performing the audit trails function wise and submitting the audit trail related findings and reports with respect to each function to respective functional HODs. Point number 12 is analyzing the audit trail reports and providing the comments to the internal audit team for any clarifications or corrections. 13 is initiating countermeasures to detect and prevent unauthorized or unethical transactions which happened. And then last point 14 is reviewing recommendation of the enhancement of the audit trail software features for improving the efficiency and quality and enabling online auditing vis-a-vis each function. Now, basic concepts to configure audit trails in the ERP environments. In a large organization, say engaged in the product designing, manufacturing, and selling, for example, vehicles, automobiles, etc., there can be hundreds of users and millions of business transactions and billions of business transactions. Most of the ERP solutions have the following basic concepts to implement the audit trail solutions, including the SAP, the change documents to track the changes to the master data tables, transaction records, change document objects, which is a list of objects which are business critical, example master data objects, transaction objects. In the context of the SAP, changes are locked in the two tables. One is the table called CDHDR table, called header table, and CDPOS table, which includes the changes at the item level. CDHDR table. Now it is a table at the header level, and it contains the object class, object ID, and changes made on the date and timestamp, etc. It has got fundamentally three fields. One is the identified object. For example, metal master is an object, finance table is an object, and so on and so forth. Number two is the unique identifier. For example, the material number, company code, document number, fiscal year. These are the unique identifiers in the header table. And number three is the change number, which is generated as many times as any changes are done to these. For example, any changes done to the material, to the company code, to the document number, to the fiscal year, to the data and the material master, etc., etc. CDPOS table. It is a line item table and contains old values and new values of all the changes which have been done in the SAP. For example, change document object, unique identifier, free number, change number, table name, table key, which record was changed. All these are logged in the CDPOS table. Now, one illustration which I am going to share in the audit trail in the SAP environment is given below. For example, the activities, number one activities is, in the first column is the activity in brief. Number two is the establishing audit trail for what all. Number three is the description in the F&A in the context of the F&A function, and number four is the SAP code, just as an example. Now, first activity is the identifying the relevant data for which the audit trail is to be configured. Now, audit trail can be configured. Column number two is business activity transaction. For example, FI invoice posting is one example of where the audit trail is to be configured. Number two, similar activities, invoicing changes, and so many more. Now, for example, for the FI invoicing, the SAP code is FB60 MIRO, and invoice changes, sales invoice changes are like VF02. Now, these are changes to be tracked, and who had made the changes in these, and when, and for how long this system was accessed. That is captured in the CDPOS table. Master data table. For example, master data table in the context of the accounts are finance accounts are accounting document header BKPF, and master data table second is customer master data table, say KNA1. Similarly, the configuration table, who had access to this access to the BKF table and KNA1 customer master data tables. Number three is the configuration table. Example, change document header CDHDR, which I will take little more, and configuration table, change document text, and so on, which is CDTXT. Accounting documents. Now, for example, in the accounting documents, the things to be traced is what is the posting date, BKPF BU date, BU DAT, and accounting document and fields. For example, GL account is one document, BKPF DU BSEG H count is another one, which is for the GL account number, and so on, so more. Authorization profiles. Now, for example, this is a display change document, which is say S underscore ALR underscore 870. Now, audit trail will enable in these through one example each, or one or two example each, that who made changes, who accessed these, and who made changes on what date and for how much duration. Now, second activity is defining logging levels. Now, this includes accessing the change object services. Now, users can use a transaction code SM36 to identify and choose the relevant important tables. For example, choose the for example accounting document segment BSEG. Select the change document. For example, what all changes have been done in this accounting document segment. Amount has been changed, for example. So this is SAP code for this is DMBTR. Cost center changes made. KOSTL is the SAP code. Now, through this logging level details, one can identify what all changes have been made to the various kind of objects. And remember that for example, in the SAP context, there are thousands and thousands, at times even in a bigger organization, more than 1 lakh kind of transaction codes. Now, one can find out who has made access to these, and there are different kind of fields which are there. Now, as I have given the reference of field as amount and field as cost center, who had changed the amount, for example, in a particular sales invoice and then restored it back, and who made the change in the cost center, for example. Now, then set the retention period. Now, this transaction called SM30 can be utilized to access the tables and maintain the parameters for object types related to the logging. For example, the change document header is CDHDR and line items tables and contains old and new values. This is what I have previously shared, that who had made the changes to these different kind of fields. And define the user authorization. User transaction code SU01 can be utilized to manage the user profiles. User profiles, they contain what all have for which all access is available to the objects, etc. And assigning appropriate authorization objects. Now, like change document is a one object, S underscore AHR underscore BAS, and display changes to the made to document S underscore ALR underscore 870. Now, this user authorization, the most important learning out of this is that one can utilize this to restrict the access based on the roles and the responsibilities. Capability parameters. At times, in case the organization is not having the ERP like SAP or any other, then it is desirable that some software are procured from outside. Now, this slide provides the inputs for determining the assessing the capabilities of the software. Now, few of the capability parameters I am giving here. There are two columns. One is the capability parameter. Second is description of features of the software, which is to be compared and assessed. Now, the common parameter are for all functions. What is the budget? It must be whatever software you procure, it must be cost competitive and within the budgeted cost, including the cost which will include the cost of the software license, the implementation cost, and the ongoing maintenance cost for the audit trail software solution. IT infrastructure, it must be compatible with the existing system and security protocol, or the existing IT infrastructure must be enhanceable. Scalability, the solution must be able to accommodate the future growth in the business and the changing needs. Statutory audit trail requirements. Now, there are some Ministry of Commerce affairs, Ministry of Company Affairs. They have provided some. They are going to come up with some legislation which may have some mandatory requirement for tracking the past history and the trail records. So, this solution which we procure, it must be able to meet those requirements. And the log should enable the auditors and management to know who made the changes, when these were made, and including the deletion, which is the most important. That anyone who made the deletion of that particular uh, object. For example, anybody deleted the master data table record or configuration table record or the document itself or the specific field within that, and of course the statutory requirements. So these are the broadly six aspects which must be evaluated while looking at the solution for the audit trail software. Now, in the context of the, I'm giving few examples what kind of things can be audit trailed. Now, in case we are having a solution which must have the capability to take care of the audit trail requirement in the sales and orders. Now, here the software must be able to, look at the customer prices, sales invoices, order modifications, uh, discounts on the prices, invoices, market variable cost, incentive schemes, warranty claims, and after sales service orders. So these are the changes which are made in these software in the business documents or processes. This software must be capable in the context of sales and orders. Legal. Now, software should be able to have at least the following: track the any changes made to the statutory returns or the licenses or the approval documents from the government authorities or the statutory checklists which are there or the minutes of the board meetings. This software must be able to take care of these requirements. Now these are just few examples, and one can have hundreds and hundreds other type of important business specific aspects which need to be included in each function. For example, in the financial transactions, the software must be able to capture the changes made to the vendor payments, payment inflows from the customers, tax paying documents, any changes made, financial approval documents like authority norms, etc. Purchasing. In the context of purchase function, now like monitoring, it should be able to monitor the rates in the purchase orders and the contracts and or the agreements, approval documents before raising the purchase order, and vendor and the changes in the vendor credit terms and any changes in the material cost. For example, in the next aspect is the inventory. It should be able to track the material movements, adjustments, and valuation, changes in the quotes made, material movements, etc. from one area to another area. In the case of production, the software must be capable to do the audit trail. For example, the recording of the production orders, resource allocation in terms of machinery or manpower, etc. resources, and manufacturing variable cost, like cost of the tools, cost of the consumables, etc., power, etc. It should be able to meet the requirement for audit trail for any type of manufacturing, like including like discrete manufacturing, provide real time production monitoring and material movements within the shop floor. Quality control. The audit trail software should be able to track changes to the quality deviations, any deviation made in the quality reports, non-conformance reports, gauge calibrations, specification changes. For example, gauge calibration is scheduled say for 1 year, but somebody may change it to 2 years, causing havoc. And now any specification changes, to, for example, to enable passing of the lot coming from a favored vendor, one can relax the specification. So one and then restore it back. So these are the kind of changes which need to be recorded. Inspection frequency. Similarly, inspection frequency can be changed from say 10 per lot to say nil per lot. That means straight direct online. Quality control procedures and quality control parameters and corrective actions. User activity. It should be able to monitor the logins, data access, and system configuration changes. In the context of the IT ERP function, now it should be able to track the security information and events which are there, called SIEM, Security Information Event Management, Threat Detection and Compliance Auditing, Host-based Intrusion Detection System. This should be able to take care of any changes made to these. HR, for example, any changes made to the payroll records, attendance records, performance appraisals, etc. It should be able to enable that who has made changes when and for how long the system was accessed. Administration, like material movement inside in and outside the company, movement of employees and people, etc., and so on and so forth. So these are just few examples of the function wise capability parameters which the audit trail software which is under selection should be capable of, and F&A team can add many such more in consultation with the attributes of the respective functions. Now Now there are a couple of local software which are available, uh, uh, which which can be studied uh, to evaluate whether such parameters are being capability parameters are there or not. For example, in the context of the India, there can be Zoho books or the Tally, etc. So one should evaluate whether these softwares which are being planned to be utilized, they have such this audit trail capability parameters or not. Now, activities that including unethical that can adversely impact the business. Now, data misuse while accessing the audit trail software. Any data which is first of all is the any unauthorized access to the audit trail data, and any potential discrimination. Transparency, misuse of the data collection and unfair usage of these data which is compiled and collected. Fairness, now misinterpretation of the findings attributed to biases and lack of objectivity of the audit trail findings which are there, reports which are there. Privacy concern, compromising on the user privacy rights. Strategy compliances, manipulating the data through backend changes to the statutory reports. IT security, not ensuring system integrity and reporting of the security incidents. Access controls, inadequate access controls leading to unauthorized viewing or tampering of the audit trail reports. Now, these are all very important aspects which the F&A team needs to be aware of. Now, a detailed chapter on the carrying out the 5 types of functional audits is given in chapter 14 of my second book called Profitability and Ethics, Essential Ingredients for the Business Success, and the book is listed in the Amazon as per the links given below, both India and international. And you can also refer to several blogs on my website related to the corporate finance and accounts function. You can refer to some of the article of interest on the besides my website on the Facebook and LinkedIn also. I hope you this article will be of use to you. Thank you very much.